Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Response on Play podcast. We are here in Roundtable Hold. Pretty lovely here around the Grace in the center. I am Andrew, and I am joined by
Steph with a 2D face.
Jake with an anime 2D face and wavy arms.
Brian with a missing beard face.
And James with really just my normal face.
Yeah, James's does look really similar to just James.
it's pretty spot on, actually.
And also James, he's here.
And as you can tell for our YouTube viewers, we're trying this new format we got going on, and just hope you guys appreciate the new style, the new look. But today's topic for the episode is we got spoils for the solo leveling deck, and we're just going to be talking about it. How excited are we to see these cards?
I am so excited to see these cards. I would have been a little bit more excited if we had perhaps received them in advance of other people in the community and could have made a reveal video.
Yeah, hopefully aspirations high over here. If anybody likes what we do, we'd like to do some of those, especially as we continue to widen up our content. We'd definitely be down to do reveals and or unboxing type stuff. But well, hopefully that'll come.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I watched the first season of the show. Excited for the second season. So very cool to see this IP come to our game, and I'm excited to see what they did with it.
Wait, you watched the first season? Was it good?
It was very good. I liked it a lot.
Wait, can you give us like a 15-second rundown of what solo leveling is?
I thought you were going to say 30-minute rundown.
That's too long. That's only if we need
episode.
more time.
That 5 seconds counts against yours. You have 10 left, James. Go.
Oh,
7. 6.
It is basically guy is a weak level, low level, like dungeon
Would you say
crawler,
he's
basically.
like an E-rank hunter.
Yeah, we'll call him an E rank hunter. Basically, is worthless, and he goes through a dungeon, barely survives, and gets a ton of powers, and is seems to be the only one that's leveling up in the way that he is, and he's taking on new challenges, and it's pretty cool to see how he figures it out and grows with his powers.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I watched the abridged shorts of this show, and they were funny.
okay. Well, it's basically like watching those.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same.
It's-
Classic.
I will not give the review of what goes on in those because that's not really very appropriate.
So, let me get this straight, James. You said he's every anime protagonist. He's not strong, and then he is strong.
Exactly. It's really
cool.
breaking the mold here.
Which was
So-
what makes him unique.
Sounds sick. Andrew, you want to get us into our first card?
Yeah, so the first card we got here is, of course, the character card Sung Jinwoo, E-Rank Hunter. He has the keywords E-Rank and Hunter, and has the static effect of Sung Jinwoo begins the game with the Assassin skill tree. And we'll get to the skill tree momentarily. And he has the response Tenacious, remove one XP card from your hand or stage, and at the start of your end phase, level up. And just kind of bleeding into that, we have the skill tree. With the skill tree, your character will unlock each ability on the skill tree card as the character levels up, beginning from the top going to the bottom. We have critical attack, which is enhance. This weapon attack gets 1 damage for each attack in your card pool. Next is murderous intent with a first enhance. Once per turn, reduce this attack speed to 0. Then you have Quicksilver, which is a once per turn enhance. This attack gets 3 speed. Dagger Throw, which is a once per turn enhance. All these, except for the last one, are once per turn here.
And the first one.
And the first one, yes. So Dagger Throw is your weapon attack gains Echo. Then Stealth, where you can change the zone of this attack. And then there's Ruler's Authority, where you can add 1 XP card from your remove pile to your hand. This character has a lot of abilities kind of stacked up for him. I personally think it's pretty interesting to see this sort of level up mechanic in a character. What do you guys think?
So I think the base idea of your character getting more and more abilities as the game goes deeper and deeper into the match is really cool and makes a lot of sense as far as what we're kind of already doing in the game. We're building foundations to get more effects, and this is the same idea distilled down into one card. So that is really cool. My only complaint is that we could have probably retooled this slightly and been able to choose an ability on the list as we went down. Obviously, those abilities would have to be a little different because of the way these would scale, depending on what turn it is. But I do think there would be a really interesting idea there to be able to pick and choose what abilities were most important based on the match you're actually having to play.
My opinion on the level up thing is, at first glance, I think it's really neat. I like that they're trying stuff like this. I think the idea is cool. My big problem is you only level up at the end of your turn, and you have to minus a card from your hand as a 6-hander, essentially making you a 5-hander until you hit your last one, where you get to add those cards back to your hand. So you're telling me that I have to survive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns of my turns into my opponent's turns, get that ability. And some of these abilities I don't think are that strong for having to wait that long. I think getting your first one, giving all your weapon attacks +1 for each attack in card pool, so you progressively they get stronger. That's really neat. I don't think Murderous Intent needed to be I don't think it needed to be a first enhance. It could have just been a once per turn enhance. Like, let you have full use of that skill to like help you survive. And I also think that Quicksilver could have been +2 speed, and it could have just been an enhance. It is 4 skills down, or 3 skills down, sorry, before you even get speed, and you get it on 1 attack. And then you get Dagger Throw once per turn, which should just be a once per turn, gives an echo. And then you have changed the zone of this attack once per turn on your 5th skill. That could have just not been a once per turn. You're 5 turns in. Like, you have to go through 5 of your turns, and at the end of your 5th turn, you get that stealth where you can change the zone of this attack. And I get you can use it on either player's turn, is why this is probably a once per turn, because you can go, I'm definitely blocking this. But I think it could have just been like, enhance your attack and done it that way. I don't think I don't think it needs to be usable on both. And then again, you have to play 6 turns, so on your 7th turn, you can now enhance, add 1 EXP card from your remove pile. So if you're removing attacks, you can then like just bring a bunch of attacks in and guarantee an attack chain. But you're seven turns in a meta where most decks by turn 3, 4 are doing 36 damage in a turn. Godzilla ruins your stage on turn 4 and then kills you. Like most of these decks, like Berthold's gonna build to 9 and then kill you. You're not getting 7 turns. Which is the problem I have with this.
I do kind of want to just interject real quick because I did forget to mention the symbols that Sung has. He does have all death and life and has 30 health. I assume they're just thinking with his symbols in mind as to why, on top of the turn structure for his leveling up and everything, they tried to factor all that in for why some of these abilities behave the way they do. But he does have the all death and life symbols.
I think if he had tenacious response at the end of the turn level up, this structure's pretty much fine. I think that if he were to get to pick, so you can kind of where you're not going to get every single keyword in a game because you're probably closing it out turn 4 or 5. That would also be better. Like I said, you're not going to get to some of these sometimes, and having your character having all these abilities on your character is very cool, but you're not going to get to use most of them, and you get 1 reset and 1 speed on your turn. So the idea is not to kill your opponent when you get Quicksilver and you get the speed, so you're not constantly adding speed. And then you get Dagger Throw, which you can only use on your 5th turn, because at the end of your 4th turn, you'll get Dagger Throw. So on your 5th turn, you can give one of your attacks Echo, which is maybe where you would aim for like a kill turn. But then at that point, why even have the other 2? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of like, the more and more I look at this, the less usable it seems, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if we're gonna see through looking through the deck if there's any other cards that facilitates a level up mechanic. If they maybe a unique foundation or something that lets you level up, or something like that. We'll have to see, or maybe one of your ultra rare attack or something lets you level up. Because I agree, it does seem like there's just no way you're ever going to get to Ruler's Authority unless you're playing the most defensive life deck and you don't swing until you get there. I don't see it happening.
I do have one thing to interject as well. Jake, you said that you had to remove from your hand to become a five-hander. It also says stage, which means you can just lose a committed foundation that says XP.
Oh yeah, you can do that. Okay, not as
It's
bad.
slightly better.
Slightly better, but even at the same time, meh. So I'm going down a foundation, which means I'm less likely to kill my opponent next turn because I have one less
It's
resource.
a committed foundation. Who cares?
Well, it matters because I need that foundation on my next turn. So at the end of my turn, I get rid of a committed, which won't matter going into my defense turn, but it'll matter going into my next turn because it's one less foundation I have that's built. And we've seen how failing by one check or not having one enough foundations can sabo a whole turn.
That's true.
Death does get to fix that a little bit with Weapon Clash, because you can then just flip Weapon Clash on your opponent's turn to replace that foundation later.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the death symbol. You know, what about the other two symbols, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know how viable this is, but I think it's really unique and interesting. I like that. I like that they do these things with these cards that are really thematic. Like it fits with the theme of leveling up. You know, like he's getting progressively stronger, and by the time he gets to Ruler's Authority, like he's probably going to be a really good deck. It seems like these are really good words. It's just like you guys said, the issue is getting there. But like the thematicness of it is really cool. I appreciate that.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thematics is cool. I really do want to praise this type of like going here with the design. I think the design is interesting. I just, when you're putting attack gets +3 speed gated behind one attack when there are characters that give like 2 speed every single attack, or static 2 speed to everything on the board, and you get 3 speed one time, it kind of feels lackluster in my opinion. And Murderous Intent being a first enhance and not just an enhance once per turn, also kind of feels bad.
Move on here to the next card, Hunter's Dagger, which is going to be an asset. It's going to be a 0 diff with a 1 low block mod. It's going to have unique and weapon with the attuned death symbol. Enhance commit, your non-throw attack gains weapon. If it deals damage, add 3 bleed counters to this card. With the response Tenacious to remove a bleed counter, and after your rival plays an attack, if their health is 3 or greater, they lose 1 health. I like this because for the last little bit, I've been wanting to try to see how a burn deck would work in Universus, and just kind of teasing a little bit with this deck. There is a bit more like burn added with this deck, so I'm pretty excited to see if that path could really be explored here. What do you guys think?
So is Bleed brand new? Are they just now introducing that with this set? Or was
Bleed
it-
is just like a counter, like wall counters, muscle counters, like stuff like that.
Okay, so this isn't like a unique like keyword. This is just
Yeah,
kinda
it's just
a word.
yeah, it's just a counter to keep track
Oh,
of.
Name of the counter.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is cool. I think it opens up the character a little bit because he obviously he's tooled around weapons, but you get to play, probably at least one non-weapon card because your Hunter's Dagger says it gets weapon. I think that opens up the character to deck building a little bit, which is always good. And then I think, like I said, I think Andrew was saying, I like the ability. I think the burn is cool.
Wait, this could be sick in Kenny because he has to like he operates off like the weapons, right? Like he's tooled
Mhm.
around weapons,
Yep,
Yep.
ranged
Yes,
and
and
he
or
like
weapons.
burns health too. Oh my god,
Mhm.
this might be good in Kenny, and it's like a 0 drop. Wow.
It's also a defensive way to hurt people up until 3 health.
I'm guessing Kenny is attuned death.
Yes,
Or
he
has death.
is. Death Chaos.
Yep.
It's happening.
The lights are shining in Steph's eyes.
Yeah,
He's-
personally, I
he's
think this
building.
card's sick. I think
Yes.
easy to build in. Enhanced commit. Also, it's unique. I was about to say it's not unique. It is unique.
It is unique.
But I mean, you get 3 bleed counters to this card. So, but the problem is you have to deal damage to get the bleed counters to a non-throw, which kind of hurts. So you do have to hit them for it to matter. But once you do, if you're like stacking bleed counters, like if they go to push you, they put themselves in a situation where they could be dealt 3. I am really interested for this type of mechanic. I like this card.
I think the idea that, like we're talking about with his earlier, this attack getting +3 speed, if he has Hunter's Dagger on the board, his second or third attack can basically go +3 speed, so it's effectively unblockable. Commit for the 3 bleed counters. Let me build, and now I'll let you play 3 attacks, and I'll burn them all and remove those counters, and let's do it again. And the next turn, I get to try it with this Echo attack, and I can turn this attack that I turn into a weapon. I can now give it Echo as well. Yeah, it didn't have Echo, and yeah, it didn't have weapon. I don't care. So there's some really cool ideas with that, and of course, the doing damage on your opponent's turn is like not very common in current Universus standard gameplay. So that is a really cool ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about just playing like a hyper defensive life deck with Hunter's Dagger built into it and just say, hey, I'm not really going to attack you until you're at 3, and then I'll play a throw. And I'll just like, or,
You have to attack him because you have to get the bleed counters by hitting him with.
yeah, I
the
mean,
attack.
you play a little bit, just basically saying I'm not going to overextend. I'm gonna hit you, get my counters, defend myself, and we'll do that until you're close, and then I'll just kill you. So I think there's an idea there. Like I said, it's got to be tooled pretty hard into the defensive idea, though.
She's about to leave, but the first toga also burns people
Mm-hmm.
on her face. So you would get to do that, force an attack through, and then go, neat, it's your turn. Let me burn you as well.
Yeah, like there's a handful of characters right now that can use Hunter's Dagger. Another character I was thinking of was Snipe. He cares more about range for his stuff, but you can still have some weapons in the list as well. Or even then with Hunter's Dagger, you can give it weapon and still add the bleed counters and stuff. Snipe can burn you by milling an attack off the top of your deck, and then you have Hunter's Dagger to burn as they keep trying to string out and play attacks. So it really adds to that burn strategy, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like an auto include for the stun toga, right? Toga 3. Like you're gonna get an attack through.
Oh yeah, that too.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a really cool version of.
Well, I was thinking of with him. Speaking of stun toga, I was thinking with this guy. I mean, once you get to that level 5, you can give deception dagger and echo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
Moving on to the next asset that we have here, we have Teleportation Stone, which is a 3 difficulty, 2 mid block, has attuned all and the unique keyword, and response remove. After you block an attack, your rival must play a non-attack card as their next form or pass. So basically, this is just another version of Airy Smiles, but as an asset, giving all some defensive tools. I will also like to add that I do appreciate all getting some love here with the current like attuned setup that we have. I actually like Teleportation Stone just as a defensive piece overall.
Yeah, I think its response is extremely strong. I mean, obviously, you never want to build this, so like you're just trying to keep it in hand to block with, to prolong the game to another turn.
Well, you want to build this because the response
that's
is
fair. It's
after
not
you block and
response
attack.
remove. It's not block with this. You're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
So you still want to build this, but so it's you could see it as a little worse than Airy Smiles because you have to build it and it has to sit there and you have to hope your opponent doesn't have asset answers. But
at the same time, they have to have asset answers, or you get to do it on any attack. It doesn't have to be a high. It can be a low. It can be the best block mod that you have in your hand.
Yeah, I think the card's good. I think it being a 3 diff asset may, tool it out of some lists just because they don't want to run the 3 diff asset. But I think the ability on it's strong. I mean, Airy Smiles is good. Learning the standards is good. Like the whole stop your turn, take a break. That's always been good. Keiko's Aid does the same thing, more or less.
So could you not play this from your hand then? Do you have to build it to play it, or can
Yeah.
you? Okay.
Yeah, I was misreading it slightly. I was thinking,
I
that it
read
was
the same.
response removed from block on block. It removed
I see.
itself, and it was just an omni block that way. Instead, it's an omni block from another card.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better because then they wouldn't know that you have it.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, any bit of like asset removal, asset dealing with this stops it, but I mean that requires your opponent to play asset interaction, which I mean, to be honest, a lot of people don't. So
It might make them.
Moving on from the assets, we're now moving on to the attacks, and the first one is Clash with the Blood Red. That's a 5 difficulty attack with a 1 high block. It is a 5 high for 5 with weapon and XP. With the Blitz ability, each player reveals the top card of their deck. If the check value of your revealed card is greater than or equal to your rival commits 2 foundations. Otherwise, you draw 1 card and your rival mills 1. I think this card, regardless if you lose the gamble or not, is just benefiting you. You either have your rival tap themselves down, or you get +1 card to replace Clash with the Blood Red, and your rival loses a card from the top of their deck. I don't think you lose in any situation with this card.
Yeah, it's also just statted very well, like a 5 high 5 with a +1 high block. That's great.
So my question is, it says reveal. Does that mean it goes back to the top of your deck, or
Yes.
okay? So now you know what you're gonna check and what they're gonna check. So that's
Yep.
even better.
If you catch the one where they commit, if you reveal and you draw and they mill, then you both don't know anymore.
Oh, that's okay. So that's
Because
how
you
they
draw
answer
what you
that.
revealed and then they
mill the card. So the checks become ghosted again.
Okay. Yeah, this seems good.
it's definitely interesting. It's more gated towards guaranteeing you a foundation because its check value is higher or equal, and obviously foundations and assets and the like have higher check values than attacks. It also sets up a thing where you stun them too, and they know their next check is a 3, or you both reveal foundations and you draw
no,
like
if
and
you both,
then
if
you do that.
both-
Sorry. But if you both reveal, like basically they have to reveal a foundation and then you reveal an attack to get to draw that attack.
Yeah, it's just attack fishing if you like fail the comparison, which isn't bad.
Totally. Honestly, in some ways, you want to fail the comparison because I think an extra card is almost always better. Those
Yeah,
2 is pretty good, obviously.
Yeah. I agree. Like I said, I just don't think you lose in either exchange.
Agreed.
yeah, I think this card's pretty good.
Moving on, next we have Determined Cut. It's a 4 difficulty attack with a 1 mid block. It's got a Tune Death, 4 high for 3, powerful 3, weapon XP for the keywords. Response: after your rival plays an enhance ability, they lose 1 health. This card has the potential to be very funny and be very threatening to your opponent.
Yo,
Because
this card's lit.
I
Yeah.
love this card.
Yeah, this
I
is
love
great.
this so much.
yeah, it's very cool and again, it adds to that burn strategy, but it also just says, I'm going to play this card. If you want to interact with it at all, you are slowly killing yourself.
And it can take them below 0 or below
Yeah,
1.
it
kill
can.
them
Yep.
if they're not paying attention. That's so funny. Can you imagine dying to this at like a race? I'd be so mad.
No, I like this card a lot.
God, yeah, I do too. I love this. This is such a bastard card.
I only have one complaint about Determined Cut, and that is I wish it was a higher rarity so that it could have an enhance on it somewhere as well, so that you get to force them to pass to you for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you get to do it and they don't get to just go, okay, I just won't do anything and you had nothing. So let's just move on. It's a 4 high for 3. It has powerful 3, obviously that's really good. But if it was a rare, it probably would have been able to keep powerful 3 or maybe gone to powerful 2, had this response and some enhance on it.
yeah, no, like I think this card's sick. This card makes me kind of want to play. I mean, I'm probably gonna build him anyway because he's got that big main character energy. Plus, I mean,
he starts weak.
He
Yeah.
starts weak, so you know, I'm a Deku dude, as we all know. So he's got that Deku in him. And
Don't say
And
that.
he's walking.
he's got that Deku in him. So
Yeah.
I I want. I want.
I'm
Great
hearing the
idea.
sirens.
But I think this card's fantastic. I'm gonna mess with it. This card is sick. I think a lot of weapon death builds are gonna play this card because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm considering trying to find ways to put this into my deck.
Yeah, I
And
feel like
into decks with death on it. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is cool.
this card definitely gives me a bit of like Armor of the Wolf vibes because I think Armor of the Wolf is still more gated towards decks that just have a lot of like buttons to push and momentum decks. But Armor of the Wolf still has that energy of, well, I'm gonna play this card because it's just very good.
Yeah, this is like a counter to this is like the opposite of it. It's like punishing people who have a ton of enhances. It's like, okay, if you want to like give all my stuff minus speed, minus damage, you're gonna lose health every time you do it.
It definitely punishes the defensive decks that want to interact with every piece of the attack.
I love that. James shaking in his boots right now.
Please.
He doesn't wear boots.
Shaking in his sneakers.
No.
Shaking in his bare grippers.
Anyway, moving on.
We have enough of this, which is very perfect. Enough of this. We have a 4 difficulty attack with a 1 high block mod, 3 mid for 4, and it has a new keyword introduced with the lower decks, Frenzy, which explains here. Frenzy is the attack will get 1 speed and 1 damage for each attack that has been blocked. And it has another blitz on it, where this card does not count towards progressive difficulty to play Foundations. Kind of mentioning Frenzy here. I personally like Frenzy because it does punish your opponent for blocking too much and just says, okay, well, you blocked like 2-3 attacks before this. I'm going to give this good amount of stats before we even go to the enhanced step. So it's already going to be a well-statted 4 diff, and you're going to have to pay the price for blocking so much early.
Yeah, I think this also could have just said does not count towards progressive difficulty and stop there. I think not making it progressive difficulty per whatever is still fine, but it could have been a little bit better. I think they could have just stopped it. Does not count towards progressive difficulty. They've been putting that on every card, or like making so many cards remove themselves from play for no cost. I'm looking at you, Lethal Strike.
Lethal Slash.
Lethal Slash.
Flash?
I'm
Put some
looking at
respect on
you.
his name.
No. It was removed too fast for me to be able to read it. Sorry. But like, they're already doing that. Like, this is not a heavily static. It's a 3 mid for 4. So if they blocked 2 or 3 cards, it gets 2 or 3 to its stats, which is still fine. Like, it's cool. But then making it not count towards progressive, like, you're still playing it on your 3rd or 4th, so your next one still is on 3 or 4, so you're still gated on what you can play. Yeah, I think you could have just said does not count towards progressive.
That's fair, but also I will bring up that you were complaining about some cards that said ignore progressive entirely, and maybe this is a peek at the design space going, maybe that was a little stronger than it should have been. Also, this is an uncommon and not like a rare for Lethal Slash.
Oh, true. I
Um,
complain about progressive difficulty all the time and it like feeling like a non-factor. That's why I'm saying, like, on something that you're obviously going to play on your 3rd, 4th attack, it could have just been that if you're going that way. I do think this is more balanced. I just feel like it's not going to see enough play because of that. I don't think anyone's going to look at this and go, oh, I can now play Foundations on, it's still on like 4 and 5, but I mean, maybe they do. Maybe you play this as a poke attack and then you go, well, now I'm going to build and it doesn't matter. But I mean, you're not wrong off base, especially because I do a lot of complaining about skipping progressive because it's part of the game. I just think that some of it gets a little too strong, and I feel like this is maybe on the toned back side, which is why I'm pointing it out.
Have any more thoughts on enough of this before we move on?
or do we have enough of this?
I've had enough of this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
perfectly fine. It's an uncommon, so I mean, I think it does its job well. It's got fine stats, but then it gets, if it's a certain game plan, right? It gets any deck that wants to string out really hard.
On life matters,
Yeah, exactly.
not on death, which matters as well.
Also,
Yeah,
not a weapon.
Yeah, but
That
you
is
give
not
a
a
weapon.
weapon.
Yeah, you
with
can
the-
give it a weapon.
the
With
asset.
Hunter Dagger.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying. Everyone else is adding stuff. I wanted to add stuff. That's what I noticed. It wasn't a weapon. I'm sorry.
Moving on here, we have the next attack, Grasp for Survival. It's a 4 difficulty attack with a 3 mid block. It's a 1 mid for 4. And it has Throw with the XP keyword. Response after you block with this card, gain 2 health. This does have a tuned life, so it's fitting into the health gain aspect of the life symbol. Really leaning into the name as well. Grasp. It's a throw. Gonna grab to throw. There's nothing really too like special with this card other than it being a throw and gaining health when you block with it, which does make it pretty weird that it's a 3 mid block.
Yeah, I
but-
was gonna point that out. Like that's a rough block. I don't know.
Yeah, we've seen 3 +1 block mods in the attack so far, and the one that they actually want you to block with, they give a +3. Interesting.
Gaining 2 health is just too strong. It's too much.
for
Also-
some characters, maybe.
Also, James, thematically, why is this guy? What is his name? Hold on. Sung Jin Woo.
Jinwoo,
Why is he attuned life?
because he heals when he levels up.
Oh, is that like a canon thing?
It's a canon event.
it?
I think so. I mean, I think it's generally, if I remember right, I'm pretty sure he levels up at one point, like mid-fight, and he needs to heal. He also can buy healing items from the shop
Ah,
because he's
okay.
a video game player. So
Fair. That makes sense. I'm also a video game player.
Yeah, you're a real
I don't believe
gamer,
that.
Wait,
Captain.
do we have other gamers in the chat?
No.
what's
No.
video?
Anyone
no
else
other
play
people play
games?
games.
Anybody play games?
Oh,
here?
I play Candy Crush on my phone. Is that the same thing?
Yeah,
Bro, you
I
got
get
games
it.
on your phone?
that was gonna be my joke, James.
I do have games on my phone.
I do too. I do have a thing to say about Grasp of Survival, or Grasp for Survival. Sorry. He's doing his best Shigaraki impression. If you look on art, for
Absolutely.
anybody who gets to see the art, like just look at him. Like this Shigaraki, just put a hand in front of his face.
He will never be Shigaraki.
You're right. He seems way cooler than Shigaraki.
Yeah, he does.
I disagree for the most part.
Well, Brian, let me tell you something. They could have made this card ignore progressive, and I'd be fine with it. I'm kidding.
Interesting.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna-
I'm backtracking so hard on that.
Wait a
Wait a minute,
thought
that's
you
just
were-
combined firepower again.
No, no.
No. All right, with that, we're moving on to Killing Intent. No,
Well, hold on. I have something actual to say about this card. I think blocking on a mod of 3 on a throw to gain 2 life, bad. Next.
Okay, thanks. Next attack is Killing Intent, a 5 difficulty attack with a 1 low block, 4 low for 5 in the attuned death symbol. Has Stun 1, Fury, and Weapon for keywords, and has a blitz ability of sealing 1 rival foundation with a difficulty of 2 or less. This card seems fine, like Stun 1, sealing a foundation. It has okay stats for a 5 diff. Not really sure how anyone else feels about this card.
I don't hate it. I mean, you get to like as like an opener, it's stun 1 and seal a foundation. There's a lot of really annoying foundation. Like what's Keiko's Aid? What's the difficulty on that?
It's a 2 diff.
It
There you
seals it.
go. So what's Macho Concealment?
Also,
diff?
too.
Oh my god, can I just name any card and you guys can tell me what the difficulty is?
Probably.
Wait, hold on, let me what's Potato?
A 1 diff.
It's a 1. Yeah,
Oh
it's a
my
1.
god.
1/5 asset.
What is wrong with you?
Steph, we're surrounded by nerds. Oh my god.
Oh my god, touch grass. Reach out in front of us. Touch it.
Touch the grace. So my only complaint, or I guess like note on Killing Intent, is you blitz seal that foundation, and then when you stun 1, they just commit that foundation, right? You don't get the extra value
Oh,
out of
Yeah.
both.
Right.
You're right.
But it is still pretty good for getting rid of things that have tenacious on them.
Yeah.
And also like that's fine. You know exactly what they're gonna stun. You get to say, hey, definitely that one. Stop using that this turn.
Yeah, my only problem is it doesn't have the ranged keyword, so it's not worth playing in the Shadow Force. So
Oh, also it blocks itself, so that's good.
it does block itself. So
We haven't talked about that for the other ones, but
It blocks itself? What do you mean?
yeah, it's a low attack with a low block.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
But
An old cut meme that won't make a lot of sense anymore because it's been a whole year since that happened.
yeah,
yeah, what they said, but like include me in the joke, please.
Next, we have Venom Fang Dagger. It's a 4 difficulty attack. Moving back to the 4 diffs. We got a 2 low block, 3 low for 3, and a Tune Death. The weapon keyword. And the response after this attack deals damage, your next weapon attack gets plus X damage, and X equals this attack's damage. I personally like this card because it's another dagger for Vaxeldon to play with for the daggers build. It also is just a good setup card for further weapons. So I like this card for what it is.
So it says X equals this attack's damage. Is that printed, or is that the damage after
No,
you?
just it is whatever its damage is.
Okay, so I can give it. If I played this in Godzilla, for example, I don't think I can because he's not on death. But like, it gets the static +3, so that would mean my next attack gets +6.
+6.
Yep.
That would be how that works.
It also
Okay.
just says it's damage, not damage dealt. So if they half block it, it still gets the full.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy
That's
stat
pretty
up
good.
on this one.
But also it says this attack's damage, so if they reduce it to 0, you give nothing.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
Or they reduce it by 3 by like something like tough as punk,
Yeah.
then you get 3 less to the next one. So
Interesting.
it makes damage reduction much stronger on this attack, but they are using it on this one to prevent it on the next one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also Sung Jin Woo gives +1 for each attack he's played,
Yep.
or is a weapon in the card pool.
Attack.
Each attack in the card pool.
You
Does it
play
work
this
in
as
the
like
negative? If I negative damage it, does the next attack get minus damage? I guess you just don't respond then at that point.
no, because
Correct.
if a value
Oh, it has to deal damage. Never mind.
has to deal damage, but also if the value is below 0, it is treated as just 0 for effects like this.
It
Oh, it
also
does have to
didn't
deal
deal damage.
Yeah.
Less cool
Also,
now that it
it's-
has to do damage.
I mean, yeah, sure. It's less extremely busted.
Also not a 5 diff, so you wouldn't want to play it in Godzilla either way. 'Cause it would
Yeah, I was
No, yeah.
ignoring that part.
Well, I was thinking
Completely.
for Kenny specifically because
Ah.
I'm cooking up the Kenny.
Kenny makes it a 4/4. Blocks itself so you can defend yourself with Venom Fang Dagger against Venom Fang Dagger.
It's
Classic.
true. Classic.
Yeah, you can clash daggers. Like it.
Dagger Clash.
Nice. We have a Wolf Assassin. 5 difficulty attack with 1 mid block, 5 mid for 5. Fury weapon and XP for the keywords, and it has a blitz. Add 1 XP foundation from your discard pile to your hand. Also, this has the all attuned symbol.
I'll go first on this one. This one's all right. Next one.
First off, I want to say I held myself back and did not howl into the mic.
You
that
should
you said
have.
wolf.
Well, now you have to.
Why do you have to howl when it says wolf? Like,
'Cause
what?
It's,
Yeah,
just,
wait, what?
it's just how I
They
felt
howl at
in
other
that
people?
moment.
You know,
Like,
do you
when
just
you
see
said
the
wolf, and I was
word
just like,
wolf and
man.
you're just like, oh.
Yeah, man. I was just like, man, wolf. Oh, I was like, I was in. That's how I felt right that moment.
For this
Uh,
attack? That's your
Matt.
opinion on this
'Cause
attack?
So for opinion outside of its name, decent stats. Picking up an XP foundation, I think, is really good. You were complaining about becoming a 5-hander. That's not true on the turns that you play Wolf Assassin. You pick up an XP card and you get rid of it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think this card's fine.
And it has a good block bond. Like
Yeah.
it does a lot for a common.
Yeah. This attack's fine. I don't have any real negatives to say about it. I think it could ignore progressive.
I mean,
but
only if it was an uncommon.
memes aside, I think it's fine. I think you probably play this in like some capacity if you're playing the guy from this anime.
Sung Jin
Nice.
Got his name right there on the card.
Where?
And underneath his quote.
The bonus for leveling up is all my stats go up by 1, which is cool, I guess. Sung Jin Woo.
Steph, what
Fair.
do you think about this card?
Kind of boring. I mean, I guess you get to get a foundation. Like, I'm guessing we're gonna see a foundation later on that he's really gonna want. Like every time he builds.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
sorry. Unlike some people, I haven't actually looked at this deck.
Okay.
Captain, I only looked at it once, minutes before we were supposed to record this.
You
That's
should have
fine.
slacked like me.
I was.
Put it
and
off
then-
until the last second.
And then you said,
literally.
"Hey, actually, let's do this raw." And I said, "Okay, sorry,
Doing
sorry,
it raw.
Captain."
I wouldn't have phrased it like that.
That's exactly how our captain said it. I just want everybody to know that. Word for word, quoting her in 2024.
That does sound like something I would say. I believe that.
Moving on. We have the UR attack for the deck. World's Weakest Hunter. A 4 difficulty attack with 2 mid block, 5 mid for 3, EX3 weapon, and XP for the keywords. Attuned all with the response. After this attack deals damage, you may remove 1 foundation from your stage. Draw 1 card for each card, and you're removed from game pile. I don't really have much of an opinion on this card other than drawing seems cool.
Yeah, it's like you're desperate to kill them and you need to find one more attack, which is I've been there many times. I'll blow up my entire stage to draw. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really good in the characters that do the thing. I mean, Rodon on all, Dabi 2 on all, I guess, if you want to play Dabi 2. But the characters that do
Night
the
Eye
thing, I
on
think
all.
it's good. Night Eye on all. It is max 3 for the draw, so not crazy for some of those characters that are removing, 2, 3 cards a turn, or even maybe case of, Dabi and Enhance. So it could get a little out of hand if it was uncapped, but it is capped at 3, so I think it's perfectly fine. I mean, for UR, it's got okay stats in our character here because he gives the damage, and then it's got EX3 on it, and drawing's always good. So if you could do the thing, I think it's perfectly fine.
Agreed. I agree. If you can get this to hit, get to do all the words on it, even just EXing it once, giving it like +2 from your character, 8 mid for 5 is very good. And if it draws you 3 cards, it's probably the best attack in your deck, hands
Yeah.
down.
I think honestly, I do think, like, thinking about it a little more, I think it's actually very good in Rodon. Yeah, it's probably only going to be for 3 damage, but it's probably going to be an 8-speed move that draws you 3 cards. So as a defensive character, that's great.
True.
True. So true, bestie.
So true, bestie. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good card. I think getting to draw cards is never bad. EX3 is also sick. You can EX3 once and then give the 3 speed with, like you said, from the character. I mean, 6 to 11 mid for 3, and then the character's going to give it probably 2 or 3 damage if this is the second or third. So, if you're hitting like an 11 mid for 6 or 7, that's probably cool.
All right, moving on to the foundations now, and starting with the UR Foundation Double Dungeon. It's a 3 difficulty, 1 mid block. It has unique and XP for its keywords. Response Tenacious. After you level up, ready this card. And it has an enhance during your turn to remove it to level up. And you cannot level up again during this turn.
Okay, so this is the card that you're trying to find in that other card that lets you pick up a foundation from your discard.
You definitely want to see this card for sure.
Okay, so this makes it not as bad. Like, it's not like you have to wait until turn 8 or whatever
You
to get your
still
max
actually
level
have
up.
to wait the same amount of turns. Because it
Yeah,
says
here's-
you
Really?
cannot level up again. It lets you get 1 turn early if you're right before. So, like,
Mm,
if you are opening your turn and you're on stealth, you can go, actually, I'll remove this, and now I'm at Ruler's Authority. Because it just levels you up a little earlier. Because it still enhance your turn.
Oh, yeah, the other one's at the end. That doesn't reset. That's bad.
Yeah, call
Hold
me crazy.
on.
This should probably say Rival's turn, or maybe just Enhance.
I just
That way
think it
you
should
can-
say enhance your turn, remove, level up.
yeah.
At the start of the
Yeah.
end phase, Andrew, judge ruling. Remove 1 EXP card from your hand or stage at the start of your end phase. Level up. Response. So, is that next turn cycle? Does this qualify?
This is still the same turn.
No, this
Still the same
card's
thing.
bad.
Mm,
No,
I think this card is fine. I don't think the whole point for which card was it? For Wolf Assassin. Is to grab this card specifically. Honestly, I think you're either doing 2 things. You're grabbing any XP card to level up, or you're grabbing specific block zone XP card to go, yeah, I'm gonna get to block next turn. I have the block zone that I didn't have. And I know you're coming for my throat at this zone.
Yeah,
Eh.
I don't know. I see the idea of being able to level up on the turn, but I think for my UR 3 diff foundation, I think it should truly progress my game state and allow me to level up on my enemy's turn.
I
Especially
agree.
maybe, I mean, if you think it's too strong, you can limit it to. I guess they said they don't really want to do that, but they did that with the UR or not the UR, but the Secret or Outwit card. Just limit it in the deck if you think it's going to be too strong for that specific character. But I don't know. I think if for my ultra rare foundation, I think it needs to do a little bit more.
My opinion, and this is what I think. They should have not put you cannot level up on again this turn, and on Sung Jin Woo, he should have just had along with his static. It should have just said something like you can only level up twice in a turn.
They're already
That's fair.
limiting it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a unique and it's a 3, so like
This
it's
would
not
just
like
been how you would leveled up twice in a turn.
yeah, but like you're not gonna be able to build 4 of these anyway and just spam level ups.
Yeah, I think you're already removing the foundation, which is already a minus, to get a level up. So this is already only unique to this character because no one else has the level up mechanic
Correct.
yet. Because I don't think there's another character in this deck, which is weird because most other challenger decks and stuff have. Well, I guess they don't. The Deku deck only had one.
He had another side that was a completely different version of him.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird. I think this should have had 2 characters, but I don't know anything about solo leveling, so
I will say, based on
It's
what
solo,
I know of
yeah.
solo leveling, is that he does get another class. I was expecting another tree. Like you would flip him, and then he'd have it. You start with another skill tree,
That'd be crazy.
and like it'd be the same idea, but like it would just be you're not on the assassin skill tree. You flip him, he's still the same thing basically, but he starts with X other thing in play,
That would have been interesting to see.
and it's still quote unquote 2 characters because they have completely different enhances.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think Double Dungeon is fine. The response Tenacious Ready is fine. I think for an ultra rare, it's a little weak, but I will say we haven't seen a lot of Critical Role. And Critical Role, of course, is a Dungeons and Dragons Let's Play. And Dungeons and Dragons has a bunch of classes, and you level up in that game too. So there could be a thing where they put this on here because we're getting another character in that levels up or uses XP as a card type.
But if you like
That'd be
In which
interesting.
case,
Mhm.
in which case, whatever they use to level up, if they had some other foundation that did something similar, they were like, "Well, we'll make Jinwoo a little faster, but we don't want to get 2 cards that do that in the format." You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fair.
perfectly fair.
But I don't know if that's
Wait and
true.
see.
Obviously, they can tell me in the future when they give us those cards to reveal.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna push back. I'm gonna say I don't really care. I think for this deck, not being able to level up again this turn really hurts. It's unique. You can't have more than one sitting on the board. I really think this should have been the way to push it. You have to wait till your 7th turn before you get access to all his abilities. Games don't last that long typically. They just don't. Most decks are either killing you in 3 or they're gonna bleed you out to like 5 or 6 maybe, or you're playing the 60 minutes in one game. And do we really want to encourage the 60-minute one games? Because I really don't think we do. And even then, I feel like he's kind of lackluster with all the once per turns that he can do to like any character that has full use of their abilities whenever they want. Like I said, any character that gives 2 speed to everything, every single thing, I would argue is better than most of what he does. But
For sure.
also, yeah, I think this being a remove level up, you cannot level up again this turn, so that he can't use his response. I think it's just an absolute no go. I think his response, it should be you can't level up via foundations or something. He should get the double level up, because even if you build another one, you're telling me on turn 3 or 4 he now has access to abilities 5 and 6. He still doesn't even like what on 4. If you got one every single turn, you'd be 2 ahead. So on 2 you'd have 4.
On turn 3, because turn 1 you'd get the first one.
Sure.
Turn 2, if you had built it, you would get Murderous Intent during the turn, Quicksilver at the end of your turn, and then on your next turn, you would get Dagger Throw during your turn, Stealth at the end of your turn, and at the end of your next turn, or I guess if you built another one at the beginning of turn 4, you could have Ruler's Authority.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think giving the ability to be pumped out on turn 4, assuming you see 3 of these, I think is what we were just saying.
Yes, you would have to play the third one to get it on
you
turn 4 and not turn 5.
You get 3 of these for turn 4. Like, you're probably not even seeing them, and even if you do play the one attack to make sure you see that's an attack slot that's not used for something that could be better. Yeah, man, I really think this should have just said remove, level up. That's it. I think this card is disappointing.
Next foundation here is going to be Dungeoneering Armor. It's a 2 difficulty, 2 high block foundation. The armor keyword, the responsibility Tenacious. After this card is committed due to a rival effect, this attack gets -2 damage. And another Tenacious ability with Enhance. Sacrifice, this attack gets -1 damage. So we're seeing a little bit of damage reduction, a little more damage reduction here with the deck, which I think damage reduction is just as valid as speed reduction.
Yeah, it's a little bit of speed hate too, or not speed hate, sorry, stun hate.
Yes, because it is Tenacious. So if it gets stunned for whatever reason, you can still use its Enhance, but also if they stun it, then you can respond to -2 damage.
Yeah.
So I agree.
I don't know if I love sacrificing for -1 damage unless it's gonna kill you, you know.
I think you could have given it Endeavors sacrifice -2. I mean, I think it's remove -2, but
Oh, Heroic
that would've-
Endurance.
Yeah, from Heroic Endurance.
Hmm.
And just been like, oh, you stunned me -2, I'll remove it -2.
Yep.
And been fine.
I think that would have been good.
But that being said, I do think the card is fine. I mean, it does what it's supposed to. Good stun hate.
Moving on here, we have a Fateful Decision. That's all 1 difficulty, 3 mid block. Enhance Commit. This attack gets -2 speed, as well as Enhance Commit. After you play a block, it gains Breaker 1. I think it's good. I find it a little weird that to the way it's worded for its bottom enhance, it's an enhance, not a response.
Oh yeah, how does that work?
I mean, you just enhance commit it, and then when you play a block, it gains Breaker 1. That or it's a printing error, like it's a typo as opposed to say response.
It's after you play a block, so you can block with anything and give that attack. It's Shobijin's, but on a commit attack or on an enhanced commit.
Yeah, you just commit it and say, hey, my next one has block Breaker 1.
Mhm.
You commit a couple more. You give it Breaker 2, Breaker 3, and then you go, I'll play the block now. I'll Breaker 1, Breaker 1, Breaker 1, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, like it is fine. When I first read that, I was like, this seems a little weird.
Yeah, I think this card's good. I think being
so
able to
too.
go, I need
Yes.
the speed hate on card, or I'm perfectly like you can't make it fast. I'm gonna make it harder for you to keep playing. Continue.
I think this is gonna be like an auto include for any like all
I think-
attuned character.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's going to be an all staple, for, at least for now.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of all characters are going to go, is there a reason I don't have random? I always have Breaker 1 on my board.
Yeah, I agree. It just gives the all symbol more defense, which lately the all symbol has been kind of lacking. So it is nice to see the all symbol get some love with this deck, specifically with Fateful Decision.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
card's good.
For sure. I think this is very good.
All right, next we have Improving Skills, which is a 2 difficulty foundation, 3 high block with the XP keyword. Enhance, sacrifice 1 foundation. This attack gets 1 speed. And the response, after you remove this card from your hand, build the top card of your deck face down committed. I think this card is fine. It has the attuned life symbol. I think sacrificing a foundation for 1 speed is... I don't love it, but it's fine. Like, speed amp is good, especially for the life symbol, because the life symbol has very little speed gain. But also, the response is good for what Sung Jin Woo wants to do.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's you build this if you pulled it on your like first or second turn and you're trying to build, but otherwise like just keep it in your hand because you're just using it. It's just fodder for his Sung Jin Woo's response.
Agreed.
Yep.
I do think Sacca Foundation plus 1 speed is the going rate for speed. It's just this one is on a 2 instead of a 1. So we have given up the ease of building it for effectively the second response, I assume. The build a face down.
Yeah, because like we have what quick arrival, which is that is it Ghidorah?
Mhm.
That's Sack
Feeling
Foundation.
cute.
Yeah.
Feeling cute. There's an AOT one as well. I don't remember the name at this
Yeah,
moment.
it's just Sack a Foundation, get 1 speed. I mean, it's pretty standard actually. I think it's a 2 because like Brian said, it has the extra stuff. I wish
Mhm.
it had a slightly better block mod, but I mean, not a lot to really complain about this card. I think it's a fine card in the solo leveling the character. That's about it.
Next up is item menu. It's a 1 difficulty foundation, a +3 low block, and it has the XP keyword. I think I think the rest of these foundations are going to have the XP keyword. This one has the attuned all symbol with the response after you remove this card from your hand, draw a card. I mean, this is good. Again, it leans into what Sung wants to do. You remove this to level up, and then you get to immediately replace it.
Yes, it's the card you want to have in hand to level with.
Yeah. Are there any other characters that have you removed from hand?
There are some characters and effects that will say remove a card from your hand, do a thing. So this, if they have the all symbol as well, could give you the option to remove it and draw. But I can't think of. I mean, the only one I can think of off the top of my head doesn't have all on it, which is woman.
Mm.
Woman's ultra rare. It says remove a card, give this attack +2/+2, remove 1 from your hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Sung
but she
Jinwoo
does.
only.
Yeah, but currently, at least that I can think of. I'm sure there are some others. People in the comments can tell us which ones we didn't think of.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, we have leveling strength as our next foundation, a 1 difficulty with a 2 low block, attuned life with an enhanced commit. This attack gets +2 damage. I mean, this is a spam foundation that can give your attack 2 damage. I think this is a pretty good spam foundation.
Yeah, I think so. The 1 is what makes it. If it was any higher than that, I'd say this is not that good.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. I mean,
Yep.
life needs stats, both speed and damage, so having a pretty easy spammable +2 damage is perfectly fine.
I will say we have effectively this card on all death and whatever younger Togoro's other symbol is.
Evil?
Evil, yes, thank you. That says +3, but requires them to have 6 foundations.
Oh, display of power.
Yeah, display of power. It's a 1 worse block mod for an extra damage when you've built it.
Yep.
But obviously it doesn't say XP on it, which matters for Sung Jinwoo.
Also, fun fact is still not as good as the duplers. This doesn't give 36 damage. So
Well, that's because this is a
Well,
1
it's not a
diff.
2 diff.
oh yeah, you're right. This card's broken.
Next is loot box, a 2 difficulty, a 3 low block foundation. This one checks a 4, so it's a bit different from the other foundations here. Has the enhance flip, build the top card of your deck. At the end of this combat phase, add that card to your hand. Also has the attuned all symbol. I mean, this is pretty cool. You just build the top card of your deck. It's not committed, so you get to use it for the turn, so you can use it for commit costs and stuff like that. And then once you do that, you can just pick the card up. This could potentially be a really good value for if the card you build down is an XP card. Because at the end of the combat phase, you pick it up, and then at the start of your end phase, you can respond with Sung to ditch it to level up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. It's like a little gambling mechanic, which makes sense because it's called loot box. Also, I know it's like a perspective thing, but his hand is massive in this picture.
That's
What
because
is
he's
going on?
about to put on his Shigaraki mask hand.
I guess so.
It's there. Like that's the hand that would fit over his head.
Yeah,
It's in the box.
what's in the box?
Goodness.
That being said, yeah, the fact that it doesn't commit that foundation that it builds down makes this card pretty cool for what it is.
Yeah.
Like it's very good as a common. I can think of a few all characters that get to say, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna commit those. Get to keep up my other stuff that had real words, and then I'm gonna pick up all those cards and block with them.
I think this getting to build and then pick it up super good. I think I think getting to pick up the card you build with this is fantastic. I think it's basically a draw for later.
It's
Yep.
drawn
We
instant,
have,
effectively.
Sure, there's other things that probably do it better, but there's the 6 diff All Might card that stacks a card on your deck. You have any other kind of stack effects? You got some stuff from Ash and Wolfwood deck. Basically anything that can like stack your deck, and then you can say, "Hey, I'm going to build it down and then add it to my hand later."
Yep.
Pretty cool
That's
idea.
true.
It's true. All right, the next card that we have here is pretty simple, pretty basic, but can still prove to be a good card. We have Serpent Scramble, 1 difficulty, 3 high block. It is attuned all and has Breaker 1, and that's pretty much it. Has no real effect besides Breaker 1.
Excuse me, it has a quote. Can you please read that quote, Andrew?
Right, hold on.
Yeah, my
Thank you.
only problem is that you sound like Linus from the pumpkin from the what is it, the Peanuts?
The peanuts? That was
From the
perfect.
pumpkin, yeah.
From the
Yeah,
pumpkin.
from the
It
pumpkin
was.
patch episode.
May or may not have been what I was going for.
Yeah, you may or may not have had your blanket with you.
That being said, yeah, Breaker 1, obviously, cool. This could have maybe said something, but I think every single deck since the Toga and Ochako Clash decks have had a foundation that's just blank.
Yes.
Well, does this count as blank for like Ryukyu purposes?
No, it has a
It's
keyword.
not.
Oh,
No.
It
okay.
has a keyword ability.
Okay.
Also, she doesn't get to respond on foundations anymore anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
Oh.
Yeah, they eroded her to where she can only do it for attacks.
Oh, no wonder James stopped playing her.
It wasn't degen enough.
She got touched. She's no
Exactly.
longer S tier.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
All right, moving on to the final card of the deck, we have Timely Recovery, 2 difficulty, 2 mid block, enhanced Tenacious, sacrifice, gain 2 health. With the response, after you remove this card from your hand, gain 2 health, and it's on attuned life. I mean, again, it's a life symboled card. It's going to gain health, and because that's just what life does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recovery girl. I'm gonna sack this. I'll gain 2 health. Oh, you hit me for 1. Oh, nice. I'm gonna build this in. I'll gain 2 health. You hit me for 1. I'm gonna build this in.
I mean, won't have to worry about Recovery Girl for in a few months, so
Have to worry about it for Nats and Worlds though.
it's true.
I don't think there's really going to be any space in a recovery roll for this. I mean,
Yeah, and you got to run 40 duplers.
Yeah, you gotta run 42 please.
Well, I
That's-
plan to run 62 duplers, so try again.
All right.
Fair enough. You have to run a minimum of 40 duplers. Sorry.
It's true.
Yeah, the block mod's fine. Tenacious Sacrifice gain 2 is fine. I mean, it does what it does. I think it could have maybe been interesting for either the build Tenacious Sacrifice or the response to have more health gained to say, hey, this is the way you're supposed to play it. But I mean, it still does exactly what it's supposed to do. So
yeah,
it's still probably better to build it just because you get to spend it as a resource and then get rid of it to heal.
yeah. I mean, you only get one or the other. I think this could have been a 1 diff.
Yeah, I could think it could have been that,
Mm.
or but I mean, it's a common, right? So like, it only gets so much power, quote unquote,
Right.
in it.
Fair.
How many times though, Brian, can we use the excuse it's just a common?
Every time it's a common, I could use that excuse,
Do not like.
and then every time it's an uncommon, I can use that excuse.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a scaling power system.
And then every time it's an ultra rare that's actually kind of weak, I can go, you know what? It could have had more stuff.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it could have been a 1. I don't really care. Common, uncommon, whatever. Like, we can give common power, like, sometimes. Like,
Agreed. I think
I-
I have honestly loot box is I think really good and it's a common. I think item menu in him is very good.
I
and it's
think
a common.
Fateful Decision being a common is very good.
Yeah, exactly. Fateful Decision
I'm
is
not
a
saying
common.
commons
and very
can't
good.
be good. I'm just saying, like, I don't think being a common is an excuse to not be good. And I think these are good examples of good cards. But I mean, not every card can be a winner. every card's got to have some type of like use some type of design space that isn't being used, or like to recover for a different something. Like, I understand not every card can be amazing out the gate. Also, would like to point out, I understand that there are good cards that I think are bad. That's okay.
And vice versa, I'm
and
sure.
vice versa, for sure. One thing that is not up for debate is Double Dungeon. Bad card.
That actually leads into our next portion here of what we think is the most valuable card, the MVP card, as well as our least valuable card, our LVP card, if you will. Does anyone want to go ahead and start? What do they think is their most valuable card?
I'm taking this one before anyone else does. Most valuable is Determined Cut. Anytime someone plays it enhanced, they lose 1 health. That's the MVP. I love that card.
Card's very good. What do you think is your least valuable card?
Jeez, I really didn't hate any of these. Like I have seen some cards in AOT where I was just like, this card is so bad. Like, why is this even here? It's terrible.
Just a lot of filler cards.
Yeah, I just didn't have that like feeling. Like none of these feel like filler. I guess because it's like a challenger deck. Like they all felt like they had a place. I guess the one I would say is least valuable is like, I don't want to say Double Dungeon because it seems like you really need that in his deck.
Also just feels like an easy target.
Like that too.
While you're thinking about that, I'll go ahead and say my most valuable card is Venom Fang Dagger, and it is not for any other reason besides the fact that Vax gets to play this for a dagger build with daggers. I like the setup. It has dagger, so it works with daggers. You can pick it up with that card, as well as it becomes cheaper to play, so it makes it easier to string. My least valuable card would actually be Dungeoneering Armor. I think this is good stun hate, but I think that's really all that it has going for it. I think for a 2-diff, its enhance is a little weak, and yeah, I think there are some better non-stand foundations you could probably put in its place.
I think my LVP then is improving skills because it's like you have to sack it to give your attack a speed, and then the response is after you move your hand, build the top card of your deck face down committed. And that's like you're not really getting much from that except for a blank foundation on your next turn. So
I
like
will
I feel
say, it says sacrifice a foundation. Sound first, one foundation. It doesn't have to be it.
oh yeah, I guess that's not terrible then. I still think that's probably my LVP. That's the one I
That's
like
fair.
the least out of everything else.
That's fair. Totally fair.
Jake, what would be your MVP?
We already know what's up. Okay, listen. Determined Cut, coolest card in this entire thing. If I'm not
okay,
allowed to
so.
say that, even though Steph did.
No,
I
you
would-
are. They can be repeats.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, they can repeat. Like Determined Cut is by far the coolest card in this entire deck. I think this card is sick. I think as soon as I read this card, I was like, okay. Overall, I think his attack lineup's pretty okay. I think there's some cool stuff in here. Hunter's Dagger in contention, sick card. I think I think overall they're all cool, but Determined Cut is my MVP for sure. LVP, I'm gonna go with what everybody saw coming. Double Dungeon, just errata. So take off the you cannot level up again at this turn. Just remove that, and this card, mwah, good card, playable, ultra rare worthy. It's a 3 difficulty card to play, so like you have to play it early in a string, or you're probably committing foundations if you've like swung it all, which is another reason why. And it already says your turn, so like I can't even cheese my opponent on their turn. That should just say remove, level up, and then that's it. Game over. It's good. But as it sits right now, I think it's kind of bad.
That's fair. I don't think it's the worst card here, but that's fine. I understand why you choose that one. So for me, MVP is probably Clash with the Blood Red.
Yeah, that's actually a good one.
Because I think that card does a lot, and it's on a symbol that's not seen a lot of love, so it's really cool for that reason too.
Agreed.
My least valuable card is probably just Dungeoneering Armor. I think it should have been sack -2. Other than that, most of the other cards here are cool, and I definitely think they're better than it. it'll be a card I wouldn't run. It doesn't say XP, so I don't even have to care that I'm possibly lowering my chances to level up.
That's true. It doesn't have XP on it.
Fair
I do
enough.
have an honorable mention. The honorable mention is Wolf Assassin. Oh,
Unsubscribed.
that's fine. You can.
Fair enough. For me, it's pretty easy. Hunter Stagger. I think there's a lot of characters that are going to take advantage of this, and I think the idea is very cool. I'm excited to see what comes out of it. And least valuable for me, I think, is just going to be Killing Intent. Yeah, you get to seal a problem foundation. Like Brian said, though, the stun really doesn't matter because they're just going to stun that sealed foundation. 4 low for 5 is perfectly fine. I think there's just better things to be doing with your 5 diffs.
You also just don't like that Shadow 4 can't really get full value out of this.
Also true.
Yes, he's just a
If it was
shadow.
ranged, that's my MVP.
You're just a little hater.
Yeah,
He's
he's
just
just a hater. He's
Well,
just a
Little
hater.
hater.
James has never played Shoto 4 anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I've never lost to James playing Shoto 4, and you have no proof.
That is live slander. All the every bit of it.
It's all lies. I don't know if that's really slanderous.
I have
But
a
it's definitely
new
lies.
I have a
new.
new LVP actually.
Oh, okay.
So this
Oh,
is
yeah?
not even in the list that we looked at, but it is part of this. I don't know if you guys have seen the alt art. I don't like
yes, I have. It's
I
fine.
don't like his alt art. I'm
Oh,
so
the
tired of the
chibi.
chibis. Like I like it more than the other chibis we've seen, but like he's like this hot thirst trap in like his original like anime boy, and then in the alt art it's just like little chibi on like a weird background.
Steph is just mad they took away the thirst trap.
Now
the hot boy.
listen, I can't be too mad because the Hunter's Dagger alt art is
I
really
actually-
good.
I was gonna say
I
I have
haven't
not
looked
seen
at
the
it. I've
altarts.
only seen the character.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
it's so edgy. He's like holding the dagger up to his mouth, and like half of his face is shadow, and he's shirtless. So,
Okay,
you
of
know.
course you would like
I
that.
am
They had to
rolling my
balance
eyes very
it.
hard.
They
You guys can't
balanced
see
it
that.
out. This is one for the girls and anybody who likes men. All right. Thanks, Universus. Really appreciate
Or
it.
really
Okay.
wants to be edgy. So James, you're gonna love this
yeah.
deck.
I was gonna say I probably don't even care about that alt art, but it's fine.
But
All I'm saying is, Steph, finally we agree on something. I'm done with the chibis. I've complained about the chibis enough. I'm just done with them. Like, I like cool alt arts and stuff. I don't think we need a chibi of every flipping card that we get. When I get chibis as promos, I just kind of sigh and go, this could have been something cooler.
it's so weird that they would do it with him too, because like there's so many cool stills from this anime. It's like an action anime, and it looks great. And even like the manhwa has like really good scenes. So that's kind of weird that they would pick a chibi instead of like a cool scene of him in sick armor or like anything dynamic. It's just him as a chibi standing on like a textured gray background. It's like not super impressive.
Yeah, especially because, like, the lower deck ones, like, they've got a couple of alt arts in them.
Yeah.
I think, or whatever, but like they're the big head hologram ones that all still look better than the chibi. Where it's like the character's face, but they're like projected or something.
Mhm.
And I think those look those look fine if you're gonna do the big head thing. I think that's still not amazing, but I think they're good. And like the lower decks have some cool art and stuff on them. But like, yeah, I'm not in for the chibi thing. I think if we're gonna do these rare, hard to catch alt arts, like the Cowboy Bebop, like the Spike alt art, oh my god,
Yeah. It's
It's
nuts.
very good.
style. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It is
the-
probably the best alt art that we've been shown so far.
I
That's
do also really like the Faye alt art as well.
Yeah, the Fate
Yes,
alt arts,
the two
of
those, I
They're
should say, are
so
probably the
Cowboy
best ones.
Bebop. They're quintessential. They're so good. Mwah!
I
Chef's
mean, they're
kiss.
from the intro.
They're
Yeah.
so good. And then we
Uh,
get stuff like the Yu Hakusho Chromes, and we get the Chibis.
The,
and
the
we-
Yu Yu Hakusho Chromes are just the holographic heads. And you just said you liked those.
No, I didn't.
comparably.
I said they're better than the Chibis, but still, I prefer something else.
Well, we're just gonna be moving on here, wrapping up things. Give our thoughts and our final ranking of the deck. Steph, why don't you start us off? What are you ranking this deck?
So this is going to be pretty high because I think it was really cool. I don't know how good this deck is going to be, but I think it was a cool concept. I like the stuff that they're doing in here, and I see how everything's fitting together. So I'm going to give it 4 shirtless Sung Jin Woos out of 5.
Nice. Jake, what is your ranking for this deck?
overall, I'm kind of interested in the mechanic. I do like when new things are tried. I'm definitely gonna play it at least a little bit, see what I think. I think I've been mulling around some funny builds. I think I'm gonna go a little bit lower than Steph. I think I'm gonna go 3 partridge Jin Woos in a challenger deck tree.
Way to stretch the metaphor. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian, what do you think?
Okay, so based on its theme and everything, I think they've got a lot of really cool things. We're rating out of 5, I assume. We're not just going out of 10. This is pretty garbage, actually, right?
Yeah,
3,
yeah.
4.
Yeah,
So
5, yeah.
So out of 5, I would probably give this 3.5 wolf howls. I
Wait,
don't
we're
howl
doing
3.5 times.
0.5s?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, cool. Now I'm fixing mine. Mine's a 3.72.
Okay, sure.
Perfect.
Mine's like a 4.
Are they all? Are they still out of a pear tree? And
Yeah, well, yeah. The
Challenger
ranking,
tree.
The ranking still stands. I do well. The usage still stands. I want to bump my ranking up just a little. If we're doing points, then yeah, it's a 3.72.
that would have just rounded up to 4 though if you weren't doing points. But you said it was. 3.
But you said we're doing points, so
Okay, that's fine.
James, what do you think?
I think overall, thematically, I think the deck is very cool. I think they took some very cool ideas. I like what some of these cards do. I like to see them brought to the game. And I think there's some staple cards that are going to be in decks for a while. So overall, the deck standalone, I think is perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and give it a B rank deck.
Oh.
Just disregarding.
James
Nice.
from the top rope.
Look, you guys missed it. He's got ranking in his name. You messed up.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
true.
but I don't want to use the letter rank system. That's lame. Because obviously he's an E rank. It's in his name.
That's lame, and I don't understand it.
E for E
understand it.
boy.
I understand it perfectly fine, but I don't agree with it.
Andrew, what do you think of the deck?
I think there's a lot of cool things with this deck. I think there's just a lot of cards you could splash into any other character. Again, there's a lot of potential here for a burn strategy, so I like seeing that. I think thematically, I think this deck deserves at least a 4 out of 5. But as for just mechanically, like functionality, I would say probably a safe 3 out of 5. I think there's just a bit of awkwardness with the leveling up system of unlocking each different skill, but I do like the idea and the theme of this deck.
So you would say, like, if you were to combine them together, it'd be something like a 3.5?
Yeah, it'd be a 3.5 out of disgruntled future Andrews who have to edit this.
You don't have to edit
You don't
this
have to-
part.
yeah, most of that you don't even have to edit out. What are you talking about, bro? Settle down.
No, just editing.
Also, if you're gonna give it a rank
episode.
a 3 out of 5 and a 4 out of 5, give it a 1, 2, and 5 out of 5. Let's just complete the cycle.
Give it every rating.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a 1 in this,
for his
it's 2 in
shoes,
this,
I
it's
give
a
it a
3 in
1 out
this, it's a 4.
shoes. I give it a 1 out of 5. Life total, 5 out of 5. 30 life's good. For attacks, it's got attacks in it. 2 out of 5. Yeah.
Anyway, we're wrapping things up here. Thank you guys for tuning in for the episode. Let us know down in the comments below if you like this new format that we're doing. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This is Andrew. I'll fix it in post.
Steph? Kenny Gamer?
Jake, son, ooh, player.
Brian, Howling Wolf Assassin.
Freaking
He's dead. Ah! Here, I got it. And I'm James. I'm just the other guy. Oh.